Sticky Trifle Podcast. Welcome to the Sticky Trifle Podcast.
And welcome, and today we're going to meet somebody who has been a part of the community for a long time and has done more than their part, especially when it comes to community gardens and gardening and flower shows. And it took one coincidental meeting to get him on the Sticky Trifle Podcast.
Sticky Trifle Podcast.
And welcome, it's Sticky Trifle Podcast number 40. Wow, we've made number 40. And we're here in this garden place, and my guest this weekend, this Sunday, is it Bill Matthew? Bill Matthew. Now, I've never met you actually.
No.
So listen, there's no better way to start a podcast for me personally. Will you have a drink with me?
I'll hear the drum, it's mine.
He's going to hear a small drum, and this week, this is Barcelona. Have you heard of Estrella Dam?
Nope.
Here we go, Bill.
We'll see if it's good.
And it's fine to see you without your face mask on. You've usually, the last time I seen you, and the first time I met you, you had your face mask on. So I'll say
good health.
To good health. Right, great. Is that a good beer?
I've tasted a lot worse.
Right, okay. Right now, we're here at, is it Fraserburgh Community Garden?
Yes.
And if it happens here, by the way.
It's a garden. It started in 2000. It was spoken about in 2012, about September, October. Everybody thought it was a good idea and all the rest of it, but nothing happened until 2013. And then they come up, they'd got a site down at Broadsea. At that time I was suffering the after effects of a road accident, and I was asked to come along to be an advisor. I was at that time head gardener with Fraserburgh Council, and I was also chairman of Fraserburgh Horticultural Society. So you'll just be an advisor, and you if it happens, when you're an advisor,
you ended up taking out, and they says, "Oh, Bill, you'll do us.
Aye.
You'll do that," and I presume you didn't refuse, did you?
I hadn't refused. No.
Aye.
I'm here every Tuesday for 10 o'clock, round about 2, depending on the weather.
Now, just the first thing that cropped up for me, caring about Fraserburgh Community Garden, I was kind of saddened a few months back. I noticed it hit social media, vandalism, a heap of young persons coming in and like destroying things, and it was kind of disheartening because, like, I thought, wow, the effort you guys is putting in here, it wasn't nice to ken that all your hard work wasn't really, how did that feel?
Well, I looked in the Tuesday morning and I saw all the contents were 2 stores scattered about the yard, some in the polytunnel, some at the yard, and I did get a bit sick. So I phoned the police. I landed at Stirling, and she was more concerned about my name and address and telephone number, and she was about the vandalism. And then she said, by the way, police doesn't visit petty vandalism.
So nobody was going to be coming?
Nobody was going to come in, so I kind of exploded. I virtually lost my cool, And so she eventually phoned the police here in Fraserburgh and said, would you go up to the garden? And Mr. Matthew there is very irate.
Aye. Which is understandable, eh?
And there was two young constables come up and they were absolute toopers. First class lads.
Right, okay, so sometimes getting a right person is hard to deal with phone calls, isn't it? You get a wrong person, it ruins the day.
It turned out that the people who broke in, they broke the two padlocks, took everything out of their two stores and put in a easy seat, one of the garden chairs.
Aye, okay.
And they were supping them with their stuff and smoking maybe stuff that was in the ground at the back, I feel.
That'll be weed. Right.
And so the two constables phoned Aberdeen and a detective came out and took samples.
Yep.
So if the boys it were smoking is ever caught for anything else, their DNA is on file and they'll get the works for us in and out.
Yep, that's fine to Kane, so it's gone some way, hopefully. Now, can we speak about, you're quite a young looking guy. Would we be safe to say you're coming on 40 or 50?
You could be safe enough to say that, but I'm an awful lot nearer 80 than I'm 70.
Right. Well, so you're coming up to 70?
I was 77 in my birthday.
Wow, impressive. And how's life been treating you anyway? You not had health problems, Bill?
Not really, no. I had an accident when I was about 25. A steer hit me in the back and put my head through a gate.
Did you say
A steer,
just steer?
a castrated bull.
Right, so you was in a park.
No, I was in the mart at Maud, and this beast hit me in the back, put my head through the gate, and they couldn't get me out. They cut the gate to get my head out, and apparently I'd broken my nose, and I had a wee bit problems breathing. Yeah, it sounds as though I've got a cow, but it's just.
Aye, right, okay. So it wasn't, you didn't hear a reed rag, you wasn't there?
No, no.
You wasn't one of the matadors or back, no?
No, when you think about it, it was stupidity. I turned my back on it. You didn't turn your back on livestock.
Right, and so you'd never do that again, obviously.
It never happened again, let's put it that way.
So that's a weird incident with the bull. Aye. Right now, also, you're married.
Yes.
Have you been married a long time?
If I say this, it could be wrong. We've been married 48 years. It feels longer. Actually, we've gotten on great.
You're
really
happily married?
We've gotten on well, really well. Didn't I get me wrong, we have differences of opinion and I usually lose. Right. But we get on grand.
And so, have you kids? Kids with your wife?
Aye. We have 3. Well, I make kids do. We have John, he's 47. Jennifer, I'm not going to tell you her age, but she's over 21 and says Pamela. Because if I tell you the age and then advertise the thing, I might get into trouble. So,
son and 2 daughters.
Aye.
And the other thing comes with that, with your wife. Does she mind you come in here and doing your gardening thing? Or is she quite happy with it?
Happy must be an overstatement in some cases, but she tolerates it.
Right.
She was a nurse, and she's English, but she's lived in Scotland twice as long as she's lived in England. So.
Was it love at first sight, by the way?
I didn't care.
You fancy her though? You still fancy her?
Well, I wouldn't swap.
Right, okay. Aye, that's good to hear. And so, like, you've a lot in common?
Yes.
Aye. So there's always been chemistry with you?
Aye, we've got on great.
Aye, great, that's good to hear.
Fair enough, you know.
Aye.
Andy has problems. I've been made redundant 4 times in my life, and that was a bit tough.
Right, okay. So that's had a knock-on effect of the factors in your life and that happened.
I was made redundant 3 times in 3 years, and after that I come to the council and I worked there until a female driver ran into me. She wasn't charged, but it was understood that she was wrong, and I had 6 months to go before I was 65, but the council said no, on your bike, because our insurance wouldn't cover you, so I was retired here like 6 months.
So if you got a target on your back, you've had a bull get into you, you've had a female driver get into you, if it's next, is there anybody else next?
Something for a moment.
Right, now can we also speak about you've been a chairman a couple of places now? Or was
One
like
up to.
When you say a school board, is that like academy or FITSA?
I was chairman of Fraserburgh PTA, chairman of Fraserburgh School Board. I was still on chairman of Fraserburgh Horticultural Society. There's a story about that. I was supposed to be there for a year. A friend of mine says, oh, I've done for a year, Bell will do for a couple of years. That's 25 years ago.
Wow.
And I'm still there. I was chairman of the Strahan Burns Club, and I was chairman Rathan and Memsey Community Council for 34 years.
And so how does folk get in, like, from they're saying, right, Bill, we're wanting you to do this, you never say no, do you?
They actually put me on as chairman to shut me up.
Right, okay, right, okay. Now, so you're a big fan of floors, obviously, are you?
Yes.
And so, is that for a young age? Was your mum and dad like big fans of floors and stuff, or what was it?
My father was disabled. He had an accident on Bell when he was 17 and lost an arm.
Wow.
And he always loved floors, but as you can understand, using a spade with one arm, because there wasn't such a thing as artificial arms then.
Yep, okay.
He volunteered me for the job. Before I was old enough, we had a man worked with from the Isle of Arran, and he was a very keen gardener, and when he left, Father says, you'll take over. So I was volunteered for the job. It was slightly different with what it is now, because there wasn't the seeds available, there wasn't the plants available. Garden centres was something far in the future. There was nothing of that kind.
And so, see, like us gardening, for you, you've got a real heart and passion for doing it and looking really nice and that. And it's awful good that, see all the donations and everything. I mean, we've got the box planter bin seat here, which the college has kind of donated. We had young school students which made us, and they've donated it for years, along with a few others. But is there always people like donating to a garden now?
Yes,
right.
Yes.
And so, as an example, how much folk is working at a garden, Bill?
Well, normally, to begin with, there was 4 or 5 of us, but there's just 3 of us stuck it out, but we've got a couple of lads coming help. We've Lorna, Alison, and myself are long service medals, and then we have Ian and Frank. So we've been doing well.
And you've also, am I right in saying, do you get like folk doing community service?
We've had lads, over 40 lads for community service, doing various jobs, because to begin with, this garden was just grass, had been for 57 years since they built the houses round about. 57 years, so as you can understand, there's been quite a lot of weeds. But we got a friend of mine ploughed it to begin with. The council said we had to put up a fence. There's a blooming cat.
You're not a fan of cats?
I'm not a fan of cats.
You're not a fan of cats?
We had to put up a fence. It wasn't to keep folk out, it was to keep us in. That's what I say. It cost quite a lot of money. In fact, it cost £16,000. So it was a lot of money to raise to begin before it could get started. A friend of mine ploughed it. The first year we just had a few drills at that age to get things going, because we made a car park, we made some paths, we planted a hedge, and we planted some fruit trees.
And so, see the stuff you're growing, does it get shelter on our stuff? No.
No.
Right.
Well, conditions of planning, obviously with to get change of use for planning for just a grassy rate a garden. And with conditions of planning is we cannot sell produce, but we can give it away, and if folk want to give us a donation, we never refuse.
Excellent.
Because the whole garden is run on donations.
Yep, aye.
It takes £1 or £2 to keep it going, as you know. Need a petrol for cutting the grass, we need
it's like ongoing maintenance all the time, keep on going. Aye. But it's looking very good, and I think's kind of matching in, and doesn't it look unusual? And so, is it open to public?
It's open to the public. Well, it's open every Tuesday from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
10 till 2
and
o'clock.
It's open any other time if folk contact the Fraserburgh Development Office or phone me. We'll open it at other times. We've a couple of nurseries has actually adopted us.
Oh, good.
And they're very good, exceptionally good. I do love the kids being up here, because that's what the gardens are about. You hear the kids having fun, and
the thing is, you're actually getting them at that age, for they might think, oh, I might come in here, or they might mind a certain flora later on in life, would it be?
It's they're often into worms and snails and stuff of that kind, and I can supply them for them.
That's great.
No, I really enjoy the kids being here. We've had quite a lot of visits for women's girls, rurals, old folks' homes, things of this kind.
Yep.
I don't like using the word old folks' homes, but I'll maybe land in the name sometimes.
I think you're either 10, 15 year away from it, so
could I get that in writing?
I'll put that in writing now. Now, the other thing I was going to mention, obviously, you can't spend your hail every day here, but again, you're quite keen in it. But if it happens, what about hobbies and interests for yourself? What do you get up to?
My home, I have a garden at home. I have over 100 roses, and I like to show roses.
Is that for a wife?
Well, she likes them too, but folk think I'm balmy, but I get more thrill out of a lady appreciating a bunch of roses rather than I do first prizes. It wasn't a yard, but I've been at it for almost 30 years, and I've been lucky. I've had a lot of prizes. You get an awful lot more practice at losing than you do of winning, but
so
I've been lucky.
So the wife, she must get a really good Valentine's Day every year for you. Would I be right saying that with roses?
The roses are more ready on Valentine's Day.
Oh, so you're doing something else, that's for sure, right? Right, it's great to see that you're doing this place and that. And the other thing, can you hear that birds?
Yes.
I heard you used to be a kind of a bird owner.
I did. At one time I had up to 60 canaries.
Where did you keep them?
The car stayed outside, and canaries stayed in the garage, purely and simply because you can't take canaries into the house because they're filthy little brutes. They can throw seeds up a metre. You wouldn't believe it, but they can throw seeds up a metre.
And so, why canaries, by the way? If it was a...
It possibly wasn't my blood, because an uncle and mother's bred canaries a long time ago, and I got my first canaries when I was 14. I got 2 canaries for him.
And you really you was attached to him?
But I started chasing other birds, each with 2 feet instead of 2.
Well, I'm sure your wife would be happy to hear that.
And I joined the Young Farmers Movement, and you know what, I didn't have time for the birds, and eventually I got rid of them.
Right, okay. So for like was the canaries, do they fly away for you if you let them out?
Oh yes, and what's more, the seagulls will kill them.
So that is easy pickings.
You cannot let them out. In fact, it's illegal to let caged birds outside loose. Be it canaries, budgies, parrots, whatever.
So like the canaries, you still like them, but you'll never have canaries again?
No. The reason for that is I'm maturing. I could farm my perch at one time. I didn't want to. Didn't I get my
I didn't think you will.
It's not something I'm looking for at all. But there's none of my family interested in the birds, and then when I had enough of job getting rid of them after. So I've sold what I can sell, and I have 2 pensioners left, and they're just pensioners. They'll be there until they fall for perch.
Aye, right, okay. And the other thing, stamp collecting.
Yes, I do that.
So how did that start, by the way? Because when I get a letter through a post, Bill, I'll just go, oh, it's stamped, and I'll throw it in the bin. But with you getting a stamp, for do you do with them? So you collect them.
Every letter that comes in is a stamp. I cut off a stamp and put in a box, and I go over them maybe once a year. These is in the box, and just keep maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 of them, and the rest goes to charity shops, because like a cancer research, the Salvation Army, they collect stamps and they sell them to make money.
And so how much stamps you got? Are we speaking thousands?
Yes.
And
yes.
Are they worth money?
Some of them are, but I didn't have the real expensive range. You can get stamps worth up to 60,000-70,000 pounds.
If you got one of them, because I'll buy it off you, I'll give you a £5 just now.
I have stamps that I wouldn't give you for a £5, but that's not the point. That kind of stamps are very few and far between. They're liable to have been collected by somebody that was born about 1900, 1910. And they have that in, and they turn out to be worth a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. So if it'll help, because one day, right, we didn't want to go there, but you've already mentioned about falling off your perch, but one day if you do fall off that perch, what happens to stamps? If I get them?
As my mother's uncle used to say, it's something for the family to fecht about when I'm dead.
Right, okay. So hold on, you're actually doing everybody else a favour by collecting a stamps, are you?
Well, some of them is worth maybe a £5, £6-7 each.
Aye.
Some of them's they're worth a penny.
Aye.
It's just the way it is.
And so if I would, you look like you might be a reader, like you read books. Do you read books?
I do.
What kind of books do you read?
Gaming books and thrillers. That's all.
And it's have you a big collection of books and that?
Again, I've quite a collection of gardening books. I like to go to second-hand shops and charity shops and pick up all gardening books, because a lot of these old gardening books were printed in 1900, maybe before.
Aye.
And they're for sale for £1. You know, you pay me on that for a magazine.
So is it kind of safe to say you're like the Alan Titchmarch or the Broch? Would that be right?
That is maybe stretching it a bit, because there's other lads in the Broch very good as well. Then I get my others.
But you're definitely you're a guy. If I love about you, you've got this passion to keep us going, and even though you've had like things with vandalism in the past and stuff, you keep it going. You've got a real motivation, have you?
I quite enjoy shows. Folk maybe laugh at me, but on Friday night you put up all your stuff for a show, be it apples, be it leeks, be it chrysanthemums, be it roses, whatever it is. and you buy the best in the show before you come away home. Except the judge maybe thinks different, and you just have to put up what, you know.
So it's a wee bit of competition, and you think, well, I might win this, or you might not.
Actually, I do quite a bit of judging now as well, and when I started, I wondered why it was the all men had judged and the young folks showed. Well, I mean, all these new I'm judging.
Now, the other thing I was going to mention now, I was kind of interested because, see, before we started, I seen you on your phone to your wife earlier, and she was going, oh, he's here, is he? Okay, I'm going to let you go. But anyway, she was on her phone, but your phone looked really, is dated a word to use? I didn't think you're up to date with technology, are you?
My phone is for phoning out and receiving phone calls. I can't believe where it's fucking pick, and from the spec to you, they didn't look at you. I just can't believe with that.
So you see a lot of, it's like that.
In our house, the grandchildren either at the table, the phones have to be switched off and put up on the sideboard out of reach.
Do they know you?
The phones do.
Why?
I didn't tell you. Folks lost the
interaction.
The art communicating with one another except in our phones.
So, but like, do you think it wouldn't get on a better now, will it?
Oh no.
So have we lost that art of like people talking properly?
Yes. I'm afraid I'm a dinosaur as far as that's concerned.
Never a dinosaur.
Because Ian in here too is the same. His phone call is for that.
Aye.
You know, receiving calls and phoning out. As for texts and all this kind of stuff, that's beyond us.
So if it would just say it, the younger Ians knew, if you could give him any advice about like us losing or interaction, what would it be about phones?
Well, possibly the phones is alright. I'm not going to say that, but for goodness sake, learn to speak to folk.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing right now, Bill.
Just exactly.
And it's so fine to hear that, because I sometimes think what's happened in the world that people don't even care anymore about, like things like this. I was
in a restaurant in Aberdeen, and there was a couple on the table across from us, and they were speaking to one another through their phone. They weren't speaking to one another across the table. They were using their phone.
I've seen it myself, and you just think, why you even bother going out? Because usually, I presume part of the reason you're going out is to talk without it.
I remember once being out, it was at a farm display sale, and there was a man coming along the path speaking in his phone, and it rang. In other words, he was speaking to himself.
I'm chuffed you've came on, Bill, and I'm hoping you may have success with us. Are you going to retire first, by the way, one day, before we go?
It'll come. I want to retire, I just want to be able.
And if it happens, you'll just sit in your seat finally.
I'll come in my bath chair and supervise.
Right, thank you very much for being on, Bill, and it's been an absolute pleasure to hear you on, and you've got a lot of wisdom you can share, especially with the people that's coming into the garden and sometimes, and it's so good to ken you've been a chairman of different things and that, and I'm so glad I met you. It was a coincidental meeting over this thing here, and I'm so glad I've came and I found out about a community garden, and I hope you continue to keep the motivation up for everybody else to keep it going.
There's a lot of people come in and hey, gardener's question time. I get a lot of questions. I haven't been trained as a gardener. I've got a lot of books out the library, and quite a few old books, and I seem to mind things.
Aye. Your photographic memory, maybe?
No, I wouldn't say photographic.
Right, okay. Right, thank you very much, and that's going to be it for this week's number 40 podcast. Thank you very much, Bill, and we'll see you next week.
Sticky Trifle Podcast.
Sticky Trifle podcast will return next week.
And the one thing I'm taking away from meeting Bill is that it's amazing that you can plant and grow and nurture without any technology. And as far as stamp collecting goes, it might be a dying art, but Bill maybe ken something the rest of us dinna when it comes to stamp collecting. Anyway, let's hope the community garden is never ever vandalised again. And just like Bill says, by introducing children young about gardens, it changes their perception for the rest of their lives. See you next Sunday. Bye.
Sticky Trifle Podcast.